Ladies and gentlemen, the day has finally arrived, as Borderlands 3 Redux is officially here. So first and foremost, this is a community mod made by myself with the huge help of SPyR, Hackersmacker from Dark Hell, Cody Code, Grim, Apocalyptech, Apple1417, Garwood, Psychotic Wolf, TBJ Quack, CatariGames, Broken English, and Only Asher. The people listed there have helped out more so than others in their own way, but each and every one of them have all contributed in ways which made making this mod a whole lot easier, and you can find all of their links in the description down below where applicable. If I missed anyone, I do apologize. Please sue me, but I digress. This mod is for PC only and cannot be installed on console. To install this mod, follow my instructions from here, which will show you a quick way of installing it, or click below for a more detailed tutorial by From Dark Hell. Firstly, download the latest version of B3HM via the link in the description and place the exe file where you'd like to keep it. Secondly, download the latest version of Redux from the second link in the description and keep it in a folder nice and safe. The provided link will be updated often with new versions of Redux, so if you would like to be notified of them, follow me on Twitter at EpicNNG. And if you want to report any bugs with Redux, join my Discord server, the Vault Hunters Paradise, and use the Redux feedback channel to do so. There is also going to be a patch notes channel for those who want to see the latest Redux updates. Now that you have B3HM and Redux, double click the B3HM exe, trust it, allow it through your firewall, and then within your tray icons at the bottom right of your taskbar, right click the icon and select Web UI. A website should open and you should see a button called Add Local Path. Click that button and select the Redux file to place it in, and if done correctly, Redux will show up in the list on the left. Now head over to your proxy settings tab at the top and make sure that the proxy setting is set to merge and not replace. This is very important. Lastly, start up Borderlands 3 and check for a message in the log at the bottom of the website which says successfully patched startup movies. If you do not see it, restart both BL3 and B3HM to try again. Once it eventually pops up, Redux will be injected into your game, but just to make sure, you will see an event pop up on your main menu to confirm that it is working as intended. In my case, it's the Bloody Harvest main menu screen, but for you, this may change depending on what the seasonal event is. I should also clear up that this is not going to enable any limited timed events in your game, and it never will. Any limited timed events that will be active are going to be done by Gearbox. I am not going to take advantage of anything they have planned in the future or anything they had done in the past to maintain a strong relationship between the modding community and them. Now, what does Redux add? Well, for the full changelog, you can see the link below, or if you're lazy and just want to know the main ones, here you go. Firstly, anointments are gone. You can still use them just fine, however they will no longer drop in your game, which is why I do recommend starting a fresh playthrough with this mod. Vending machines now have more blues and purples and less legendaries. Various weapon red text has been changed. Tons of weapon buffs have been implemented to cooperate with the lack of anointments, like seriously, almost 75 total weapon buffs, probably more, I've lost count at this point. Takedown weapons are now the top tier weapons in terms of DPS aside from pearlescent rarity weapons, so there is now an actual reason to go and farm these takedowns. Seeing Dead has officially been Thanos snapped. No more kill skill activation, however to combat this it does grant you an additional 50% to kill skills as a result. Melee can now crit along with Flak's pet melee. The anti-freeze is now a reworked comb with 75% damage reduction and overall damage while sliding and jumping. Anointed enemies will no longer spawn in slaughters. The Psycho Stabber now deals melee damage on its bullets. There is now an improved photo mode which will allow less restriction for moving around. All challenge icons should now be visible on the map at all times. The complex route as of right now no longer deals splash damage by default. You should no longer see any more loyalty reward notifications from manufacturers. Loot enemies now spawn more frequently and all of them have their own specific pearlescent drops. The reload notification that you see when firing your weapon will show up lower in the mag. We have a new rarity in the form of pearlescent rarity, so enjoy hunting for them. It replaces the white rarity, meaning you'll no longer find white rarity gear in game, so any place where you would usually get a white rarity weapon, it will now be green instead. There are over 20 pearlescents at the launch of Redux, and all of them can be farmed from the loot enemies like I previously said, but they also have their own dedicated sources, which are locked at Mayhem 4 and above. The world drop frequency for all rarities has been greatly reduced to be more akin to Borderlands 2. The Iridian Fabricator, along with many other loot sources in the game, can now drop DLC gear. Event gear can now be also world dropped, both in arms race, fabricator drops, and also just any world drop source. All item locks in early game have now been removed, so you can equip artifacts, class mods, and so much more from level 1 if you so desire. Maliwan weapons now have better charge up times. The iridium and cash rates on Mayhem mode have been greatly reduced to rebalance the economy. Various drop sources have been changed to shake up the loot pool. You should no longer find cosmetic item drops from enemies like common skins or weapon trinkets. TVHM is now much harder and rewarding, offering additional challenge for seasoned veterans. With the removal of ASCs, element matching is extremely important. To combat normal Vault Hunter mode being too easy, enemies will also hit a lot harder themselves. Normal Vault Hunter mode now scales with your level. Dart damage scaling has been greatly reduced across the board. Salvation and other lifesteal skills have been drastically reduced. The focus in Redux is now on regeneration as opposed to just shoot to stay alive. Flax pet damage has been increased. Moses Iron Bear weapon and augment damage has been increased. Zane's shoulder cannon cooldown and damage has also been increased. And finally, Flax gravity snare cooldown has been decreased. Now, do bear in mind that everything I just listed is subject to change in the future, and that's why we only went over the main big points in terms of changes. But speaking of changes, there are so many in this mod, all of which were heavily debated and discussed with members of the community to ensure a fresh experience for those looking at new ways to play Borderlands 3. But let's say you dislike a change. How do I make it known? Well, that's easy. We're here to listen, so join my Discord server using the link below and voice any concerns you may have through the Redux feedback channel. If enough people dislike a certain change, we'll remove it in future updates. And speaking of future updates, I'm pleased to announce for the first time that Borderlands 3 Redux will be an actively supported mod with frequent updates until the end of the BL3 content cycle. We'll be sharing a roadmap as soon as possible, but for now I want to take the time to thank the people who really got this thing together, because without them, none of this would have been possible. Firstly, Cody Code. This man has worked tirelessly to bring Borderlands 3 mods to us as soon as humanly possible, so thank you so much, Cody, and please keep up the hard work. Secondly, SPyR. This angel is the sole reason for Borderlands 3 Redux even existing in the first place. I literally built mountains on top of Spy Patch just for my playthrough, which later turned out to be Redux mod. I'm like the priest of plagiarism, the pilferum of plagiarism, if you will, and don't even get me started on all of the endless help that Spy has given me. I don't know how I haven't died yet, because the amount of nagging I did was reminiscent of a country Karen singing WAP at 3 AM in the Walmart parking lot, so thank you, Spy. Grim, who has taken extensive measures in helping me and allowing to use parts of his mods to ensure that Redux is as great as possible. It means the world to me, and I highly recommend checking out their mods if you like Redux. I also want to thank Apocalyptech. Apoc combines the characteristics of all three listed above, and without them, the pearlescent rarity would have never came to be. And finally, I want to thank my friends, fans, and Gearbox for their support of Redux and the modding community in general. I hope this is a relationship which can be further strengthened over time, and I appreciate every single one of you for your support. So what are you waiting for? Jump in the game and farm some pearls, pillage some loot tinks, break my mod and make me cry, because today is only the tip of the iceberg on what's to come, and I cannot wait to share more soon. But until then, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.